From minifigures riding bikes and trains to a Ninjago minifigure that comes with a selfie stick. These are the weirdest minifigure accessories in LEGO. Starting off, let's talk about the plumber from CMF Series 9. When you open up this minifigure, you get a guy in overalls with a toolbox, which makes sense for a plumber. But then you look at what he's holding, and it's a literal toilet plunger. Obviously, this makes sense for a plumber, but here's the thing. LEGO had to make an entirely new mold just for this accessory, which is so much work for them. All of this effort went into making sure a minifigure could hold a toilet plunger. But speaking of using accessories in weird ways, let me take you back to 1999, when the Phantom Menace sets for LEGO Star Wars first came out. The Gasgano Pod Racer minifigure needed to be built, and if you've seen the movie, you know Gasgano has these really long alien arms that are way longer than human arms. So LEGO looked at their parts catalog and had to figure out how to represent this. And apparently, someone looked at the chainsaw piece and thought it would work. So they used them to build Gasgano's extra limbs. And the crazy part is that it actually does work. The chainsaws look pretty good as alien arms. But these aren't even close to the weirdest arms in LEGO, because just one look at the minifigures from the Friends theme completely changes my mind. Now, obviously these aren't traditional minifigures, but they can actually be taken apart like regular ones, and this is where the fun begins. The size of the connection point of a Friends arm is the perfect size to fit into where the hands go on a traditional minifigure. So you end up with this minifigure with super cursed arms, and all you had to do was mix and match different figures. But now, let me show you one of the funniest accessories LEGO's ever made. The Series 25 film noir detective came out in 2024, and the entire minifigure is grayscale to match the aesthetic. Everything is monochrome until you look at his accessory, and it's a bright red fish, a literal red herring. Now, this next thing isn't technically an accessory, but I can't talk about Series 25 without mentioning the Afghan Hound. This is one of the funniest looking dog breeds in the world, so I love that LEGO made their own version. The dog even comes with a groomer with a pair of scissors, and considering what this dog looks like, she's definitely gonna need them. This next accessory, though, is actually for a big fig instead of a minifigure, but in my opinion, that just makes it even weirder. Literally every big fig has these giant fists that are barely compatible with anything LEGO makes. But did you know they made an Infinity Gauntlet for Thanos that actually fits over this giant fist? The piece has actually been retired since 2023, but during its 5-year shelf life, it was only in 6 sets, so it was pretty hard to come by. And most of the time, it didn't come with all of the Infinity Stones. So a lot of fans try to collect them all so they can have a real Infinity Gauntlet. But this isn't even the only version of this thing. Remember in Avengers Endgame when the Avengers made their own Infinity Gauntlet called the Nano Gauntlet? Well, LEGO made this one too, and it's in the Hulk helicopter drop set from 2023. This one actually comes with a good amount of Infinity Stones, so most people buy this set to complete their collection. But if you think accessories for big figs are weird, Series 19 from 2019 has something that seems physically impossible. One of the minifigures in that series came with a full mountain bike. It was 100% brick built, and honestly looks pretty cool. The funniest part is that it had to fit inside the same small blind bag as the minifigure itself. A lot of people like to feel the bags before they buy them so they know what's inside. And if you did that with this one, you'd literally know instantly because of all the extra parts. But speaking of Series 19, that same series had the Shower Guy minifigure, one of the funniest minifigures ever made. He comes with a rubber duck, which makes sense for a shower theme. But this wasn't just any rubber duck. LEGO made a completely new green color variant specifically for this minifigure. The rubber duck mold already existed in yellow, but apparently the shower guy needed a green one. But here's where it gets even weirder. He also comes with a paper towel piece, and it just goes right over his waist. It also has rubber ducks printed all over it just to add to the effect. It's like everything they did for this guy was one big joke. But the weirdest new color variant in Series 19 isn't the duck, it's the chicken. The Fox Costume Girl minifigure is designed to look like someone dressed up as a fox, and the idea is that she got caught stealing a chicken from a farm, so she needed to come with a chicken accessory. Now, LEGO already had chicken pieces in other colors, so they could have just used one of those, but instead they made a new tan colored chicken just for this one minifigure. This one isn't really a weird accessory, but it's definitely a weird decision. But now, let me talk about an accessory that accidentally started an entire trend at LEGO. Back in 2015, Series 13 brought us the Hot Dog Man, which was the very first food costume minifigure LEGO had ever made. At the time, it seemed like just a weird one-off character, but apparently it was so popular that LEGO just kept making more food people. After Hot Dog Man, we got Banana Guy in Series 16, then Corn Cob Guy showed up in Series 17, then Pizza Guy came in Series 19, and then Watermelon Dude in the LEGO Movie 2 sets. One mold for a hot dog costume spawned almost a decade of minifigures wearing food suits, and they're still going. There are probably more food costume minifigures being designed right now. And speaking of food, the Series 11 Pretzel Girl from 2013 needs to be mentioned. She comes with a giant pretzel that's literally bigger than her head. If you scale it to real-world proportions, this pretzel would be like 2 feet wide. I'm not sure why LEGO decided the pretzel needed to be so big, but apparently she needed a pretzel you could see from across the world. But if you thought food was weird, just wait until you see this next accessory. The Clumsy Guy minifigure comes with a brand new pair of crutches that LEGO designed specifically for this character. And he really needed them, because LEGO went all out making him look injured. He has a cast printed on one leg, a black eye on his face, and a bandage wrapped around his head. I mean, he looks like that one guy from SpongeBob. But speaking of medical accessories, LEGO also made a wearable cast piece that actually fits onto a minifigure's arm. It's a physical separate piece that you attach to the arm. So if you want to have an entire hospital full of injured minifigures for some reason, LEGO has made everything you need to do that. Now, the Series 15 Animal Control Officer from 2016 comes with a skunk, and LEGO designed a completely new skunk mold just for this one minifigure. But the funny part is that the officer also comes with a capture net so he can catch it. This has got to be the only time a minifigure's gotten this accessory. It's such a weird one. But you can find weird accessories outside of any CMF series. Moving over to the Harry Potter theme, the Mandrake plant is legitimately one of the weirdest accessories LEGO's ever made. It's a screaming magical plant that unfortunately can't be pulled out of its pot by minifigures, but it showed up in the Astronomy Tower set from 2020. In the Harry Potter universe, mandrakes scream when you pull them out of soil, and their screams can kill you if you're not wearing earmuffs. So LEGO had to design a plant that looks like it's screaming, and they did. The mold actually has a little face screaming on it. I think the best part though is the fact that you can actually pull it out of the pot. I mean, that's just perfect. But if you want to see something really specific, LEGO made a minifigure scale arcade game cabinet, and it's not just one piece. It's made out of 2 separate pieces that connect together. Now, obviously, this thing is way too big for a minifigure to hold, but that's not why LEGO made it. They made it so the minifigures could play video games on it. This is an insane concept that I can't believe actually exists. But speaking of super specific accessories, there's a mechanical powerlifter arm with a flexible rubber piece attached to it. This was made for a LEGO powerlifter minifigure concept, and it's not just a solid plastic arm. It has an actual molded rubber tube that's flexible. This piece ended up going on the M-Tron powerlifter in CMF Series 26, which is pretty crazy because the M-Tron theme ended in like 1991, and this CMF pack came out in 2024. But anyways, let me show you something that's weirdly dark for a kid's toy. LEGO made a barbed wire coil that minifigures can hold in their hands. And this isn't barbed wire as a fence piece that you build into a set. It's a literal coil of barbed wire made to be carried around by a minifigure. This is definitely one of the weirder accessories in this video. But moving back to lighter stuff, did you know that there's a single molded balloon dog piece in LEGO's catalog? This thing came out back in 2018, and since then, it's been in 13 different sets. So clearly, LEGO uses it a lot. The first time we ever saw it, though, was in CMF Series 18, when they released the Party Clown minifigure. This series in general is full of weird accessories. There's a mouse, a guy with a race car around his waist. I mean, it's all over the place. So the balloon animal honestly fits right it in. But this trend of minifigures with weird stuff around their entire bodies didn't end here, because LEGO also made a train conductor minifigure who literally sits in a train. This one was in CMF Series 25, and it came out in 2023, so it was pretty recent. This piece is super similar to the 3D printed train we got even more recently than this minifigure. Imagine if it was ready for production for Series 25. We would have gotten a minifigure sitting inside a 3D printed train, which would have been the weirdest thing ever. But the Build a Minifigure Halloween 2025 wave had what Jay's Brick blog called the funniest accessory in the entire lineup. This drop only had 4 minifigures, one of which was a black cat. But the ghost minifigure came with this ghost accessory that's literally just a ghost's face printed on a splat piece. It can be held either by the thing on the back or by its side because it's the size of a tile piece. But unfortunately, none of this ghostly stuff glows in the dark. But one of my personal favorite accessories is the holographic Princess Leia statue. This piece is only in the Obi-Wan's hut set from 2020, and even though it isn't held by a minifigure in this set, this piece is a nano figure, and those were made to be held by full-size minifigures. In the set, this piece is there to represent her message from R2-D2, which is a really cool use for the piece. And speaking of Star Wars accessories that are technically full characters, Rada the Hutt from 2008 is officially listed as a minifigure in the database, but he functions as a carried accessory. In the Clone Wars TV show, Anakin literally carries him around in a backpack, but unfortunately, LEGO just made it so he could be handheld instead. Rada is made from 3 sand green pieces with printed yellow eyes, and he only ever appeared in 2 sets from 2008 before disappearing forever. He wasn't that big of a plot point in the Clone Wars, so I guess it makes sense. But to end this video, let me show you an accessory that perfectly captures a specific moment in cultural history. When the LEGO Ninjago movie came out, they released a series of collectible minifigures based on the characters, and the Jay Walker minifigure comes with a selfie stick. Yes, a literal selfie stick accessory. Back when these minifigs came out, selfie sticks were a huge trend, so I guess LEGO thought Jay from Ninjago needed one too. But what minifigure accessory do you think is the weirdest? Be sure to let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.